would you like to be able to awaken your magic powers to manifest wealth? Today we have Sunshine, and she will tell us how to do it. And she's the headmistress of Illuminate, founder of Sunshine Readings, and also known as the pink-haired sober witch. So, Sunshine, please tell us, how can entrepreneurs manifest wealth and rediscover their magic?
Manifestation Empress podcast
with Lily Patrascu shares manifestation strategies to live your dream life.
Hi, Lily. I think the first important step is to understand, what does wealth truly mean? Right? What does wealth truly mean? Because a lot of people, and I think even entrepreneurs, we automatically go to the word wealth and we think of monetary, right? We think of the dollars, what's coming into the bank account, what can we save, right? But when it comes to magic, when it comes to, our own personal, lives as an entrepreneur, it goes beyond just the work that we do and the money that's within our account. Wealth is everything that makes up our life, the richness of our relationships, right? What we surround ourselves with, right? The experiences that we get to have in life. And so when we start to look at wealth as beyond just the monetary aspect, we now even start to measure our own success beyond just the money we're able to generate, right? How happy are we in our relationships? What is our relationship with our children like, right? When was the last time we were able to do something that truly filled us with joy, right? So when we understand that the definition of wealth extends a bit beyond just money, we can start to realize that there is a whole plethora of things that we can do to really awaken our magic, use our magic to be able to help manifest it.
Thank you. Tell us, what is actually magic? Because I keep seeing magic written with a CK, and I'm always confused about what that means.
That's a really good question. And I think there's a lot of people that are, curious about that. When we think of magic, there's two ways to look at it. There is magic, right? If you're going to go to a show and you're sit down in an audience in front of a magician, right? That's sleight of hand, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Right? That's still magic, but we spell that magic with a C. Magician magic. Magic with a K is magic that involves understanding that there is more to this world than just what we see. Being able to leverage the powers, the elements, the energy of everything that is around us and within us in order to bring changes into the physical world. That's magic with a K.
Thank you. That is so interesting. I didn't know that. Tell us, why is it important to understand that wealth is beyond monetary wealth? Like, for example, I'm very resourceful. I would say I'm happier than a lot of people with little things. If I'm looking at the wealth of what you mentioned, like you can say you can say I'm a trillionaire, okay? But in terms of like my bank account, it's not, it doesn't reflect that. So how can we like equilibrate that, to have monetary wealth alongside, you can say wealth of the type that you mentioned, like wealth of relationships and wealth of happiness and wealth of, self-love, or I'm not sure what else is in the types of wealth you can potentially have.
Yes. I think there's a lot of people that can think of the story, and I love that you relate this to yourself, but they can think of a story where they know someone that has a lot of money in their account, right? Has all the zeros in the savings account and the big financial portfolio, right? But they're not truly happy, right? They haven't seen their wife and gone on a date with their wife or their husband in weeks or months. Their children are hardly even, can't even remember the last time they spent a quality time, with that particular parent, or the family sees them in a fleeting, right? These are often people that are inflicted with, workaholism, even alcoholism, and they're going through the grind and they're making a lot of green or dollars or zeros, but they truly aren't happy. And so, to that particular point, that wealth does nothing to enrich their life, right? That wealth that they've equated to just the dollar signs or the pound signs, right, has nothing to do with truly feeling fulfilled, satisfied, loved, right, engaged. There is a phenomenal author by the name of Brene Brown, and she wrote a book called Atlas of the Heart, and she talks about how we as humans experience emotions. And there's these two emotions she pairs: wonderment and awe. And I remember thinking for the first time and hearing her talk about this is what life's about. Right? This is truly like, if you are a wealthy person, you're experiencing wonderment and awe, like you're being surprised and delighted by life in every turn, right? But if the dollars are what's driving you, then I don't know that you're ever truly experiencing happiness. And and another individual may consider that wealth, may consider themselves wealthy in that aspect. But I don't know, by the end of they say, what's the statement? When we lay on our deathbed, we're never going to look back and wish that we worked more.
Okay, but take us back to, okay, what if I am very wealthy in resources and, experiences, in love, and, having fun, being joyful, everything. And what if the bank account doesn't match that? Like, how do you actually make it match? I'm not saying I'm driven by wealth. Clearly I'm not, because if I was, maybe I would be a billionaire myself too. But let's say for people like me who, let's say, want a lot more money than their bank account currently shows, why is there an imbalance between the wealth of resources and the actual wealth in the bank account, and how can someone balance it out?
Yeah, usually the question that has to be asked first is, why is that wealth wanted and desired? What is it going to add and contribute and bring into your life? What are those dollars going to do? How is life going to be differently for you? Right. And so that's, when it comes to magic, that's the first thing, right? It's not just about the acts and the things that we now can do to create, to create the magic and the change, but the change starts by truly understanding and knowing, okay, if I have everything that I want in life, all the happiness, all the joy, all the experiences, what are these additional dollars truly going to be doing? How is it going to be adding and enhancing all of what I already have? Right? So that question has to be looked at first, right? And a lot of times in that regards, it's not a matter so much as when people start to peel back the layers, because this is what magic is about. It's like kind of getting to the root cause, right? It's truly, truly understanding, like, what is it that I really mean when I say I want to have more zeros in that bank account, right? What is it? What do you intend and plan on it being able to do? Maybe the reason that you want it is because you want to start a nonprofit. You've got something that you're very passionate about, or you actually want to start another business and try to help more people. But if it's just to tack more zeros on, just to go ahead and squirrel away more money, right? The universe is going to look at that and say, is that really something that you truly want? And sometimes you may still say yes, but then you have to ask, the laws of duality, the universal law of duality says, okay, cool. If you're going to get those more zeros, you may have to give up some of what is causing all of that other wealth that you have, all of the happiness, the joy, and the experiences. It reminds me of I was in a group, a Facebook group, a local group to where I'm at, and some woman was saying her husband owns his own business, just started his own business, and is literally working from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. every night. She never sees him. And I'm watching the comments on this, right? And there's all of these people. Well, he's providing for the family, he's providing for, the children, he's doing all of these things. And I'm like, but he's never there, right? So you've got to understand, if you're going to move forward and make that shift, all of the pieces that go into play when it comes to building wealth, right? What are you willing to do? What are you potentially willing to give up, right? And this is all, when it comes to magic, it becomes this energetic shift of our own internal selves first, right? It's this alchemy around just our own being. Why do we want it? What is it for? What are we going to be, using it for? What are we willing to give up? And knowing all of this, like bringing all of this into the light and making sure that we are truly clear of what we're asking for, right? Once that's understood, and it sounds so, it sounds so simple to say it this way, but anybody that's ever, read The Secret, read about law of attraction, even folks that are, witches and magicians that are doing spell work or ritual work, know you set the intention. This is what I truly want. I want, an additional $5,000 every month, $10,000 every month. I want an additional, 500,000 in my bank. And then you have to be willing to take action towards it. Magic is not about miracles, right? It's not about somehow managing to hit the probability that you need just to win the lotto. Right? Some people can do that. There are a couple of, stories of people that have, but even if you read into the stories of people that have done that, there are very intentional actions and steps that they have taken. So once that intention is set, are you willing to let go of things when they start to get hard? Because that's a sign the universe is working in your favor. Are you willing to try new things even when you're afraid? Because that's the sign that the universe is working in your favor. So if you aren't willing, after you set that intention of more wealth, more desire, whatever it may be, more money, more riches, a bigger financial portfolio, a stock, win, once you set that intention, you have to be willing to listen to what the universe shows you and take action towards it. That's where the magic starts to come about.
Thank you. Are you saying that whenever you're trying to manifest something, you always have to be prepared to give something up? And a lot of times it's something good as well that you have to give up, or it's not necessary that this will happen. You have to mainly give up some negative feelings such as fear, or give up your resistance, or give up mainly like negative things and limiting blocks, and kind of like working again even though you're afraid, and making that call even though you're afraid, and sending that proposal even though you're afraid, or I don't know, taking unreasonable action that would be like completely out of the box even though you are completely afraid. Would you say it's mainly negative things that you have to give up, or is it a mix of negative and positive resources that you may have to give up in order to make what you desire happen?
It's the way that I've explained it to people before is you don't always get to choose. For some people, it may just be all negative. For some people, it may be positive. Like, let's say, for example, you have a job that you really, really love and adore, and you're showing up every day, and it's amazing. You've been there 10, 15, 20 years, and it's incredible, right? But you've hit a ceiling gap. You love the people that you work with. You would no way, shape, or form otherwise leave, but you get a job offer that comes in, and it knocks on your door, and it says, hey, just you set the intention, and 2 days later this job opportunity comes up, and you're like, it's not any different money, right? But it's a different company. It's offering some different things. Are you going to ignore that? You may have to give up a job you love, but the universe just put something in your path that very well may in another year be the stepping stone to maybe the CEO of that company, maybe take another job. Right? That's where it's not really just negative or just positive. People want to look often at leaving things behind as being or stepping away from something, or leaving something that they enjoy as being bad, right? But the universe doesn't operate in this is good for you or this is bad for you. The universe operates and says, what was your intention? We're going to take you towards that. And you may have to leave some things behind. And you may have to do some things you don't like, right? You may have to make some hard decisions, but it's not saying that you only have to give up bad things. You just have to be willing to make changes and take actions if you're trying to bring something different into your life.
Thank you. How do you know when you are taking aligned action with what you desire to manifest? And I'm referring to, like, how do you know you're not acting from fear versus acting from strength and power and feeling empowered?
For some people, it's going to be harder to know that than others. And I say that because some people have not operated within their body for years, right? They've ignored the way that their body shows up and tells them things. Okay. But ultimately, if you are with yourself right? And you are paying attention, you're going to feel it. You're literally going to feel it in your body, right? You may feel a lightness in your chest. You may get a little bit of anxiety because of fear, but if you ask, is this really fear or am I excited? You may get the answer of, yeah, you're actually excited for this. It's new and it's exciting, right? And vice versa. If you start to feel sluggish, fatigued, things feel hard, difficult, that's often the universe telling. If you're in a place of pain and suffering, that is typically the universe telling you that you are not moving in the direction that you need to be moving, and you're remaining stagnant, often because of fear of change.
Thank you. So what needs to happen? Imagine that an entrepreneur is stagnant and notices that whatever they do, let's say they attract opportunities, but nothing seems to really happen. What do they need to do to kind of like get into that flow where everything is not only attracting to getting attracted to them, but also things are actually happening?
Yeah, the number one thing that I would recommend in that particular point is make sure, double check that you have a moment of reflection after every time that it happens, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we love to go, right? We just love to go, go, go. We want to get things done. But if something doesn't work out and you don't pause and give yourself 5, 10, 15 minutes and go, what just happened? What can this teach me? How can I do something different the next time? You're in that what they call loop of insanity, right? Doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result. So you have to have a moment of pause to reflect and see, what is it that I can change before I try this again?
Thank you. What about if, let's say, you're in the wrong job, or you have the wrong life partner, or you're feeling off about a particular thing in your life that you feel is quite scary to change? Okay, so let's say you've been with the same husband for 30 years, and then you feel like you really should give him up because you feel that he's not satisfying you so much, or you dislike your job, and then you feel like you should move on, but you're kind of scared to take the next step. You're not sure whether you should try. I feel that in those kind of moments, it can feel like nothing is working, like literally, like, you know, maybe things could be coming, but like nothing is really happening. What needs to happen for someone to kind of start coming out of that stagnation so they can make everything flow?
Yeah, you're spot on, and I think there's a lot of people. Interesting that you asked the question in that way, because it was, 2 hours ago, I was in that conversation with someone. I believe there are two things that are needed at that particular point. You need a plan and you need support, right? So whether it's a job, a partner, some kind of other relationship, a situation that you've been in, you need a plan that's going to show you how to step out of it. And I don't mean like have the conversation with the partner, but after you move, after you make that transition, what are you going to be doing? And the second piece is the support. You need to be talking to a friend, to a therapist, a mentor, or someone, because in that particular time, when we are making a transition of that nature, what we as humans don't often give credit towards is there is grief. We are leaving one thing behind in order to move into a new way of life, and you will go through a cycle of grief. It's a natural stage of transformation. It is a huge stage of transformation that I don't know a lot of people talk about. So that support is going to help you realize that you're not alone, that you shouldn't give up when things feel really tough and you're like, you know what, I think I can handle it. I'll just go, I'll just stay in therapy and I'll stay with my partner, right? Your support system is going to say no, right? You made a decision. You did it. You've made this decision because you know it's in your own best interest, right? Don't stop. Don't give up.
Thank you. One thing that I remember from many years ago, I was dating this guy and he asked me to marry him. And I said yes, but really I had so many second thoughts. And it's because he didn't talk to me much. Okay. And he was very stingy as well. And and what I found was that I thought, I'm not going to find anyone better than him because he's like tall, he's good looking, he has a great job, And although he was keeping the house really cold, and for me, it's very important that the house is warm. um, I remember feeling like so stuck and depressed, and I remember sleeping until as late as I possibly could. And then what happened? I remember that I finally took the decision to move, and then I moved to interestingly, I moved to a flat with a pool, and then it was a flat with a pool that had like a concierge and like with a budget that you will never believe, like £500 per month, which is nothing in London. It's actually impossible to find that. But that was my budget. And I was actually looking for a room with a pool in London, and I found it. Okay. So what was really interesting about that was that as soon as I moved out, it's like I started living in luxury. I had a pool, I had a gym. I was like so vibrant. I was like going to parties. I was like waking up at 6:30 in the morning every day. And I was just like, couldn't wait to wake up to live. So would you agree as well that sometimes when you take some of these like tough actions that you should be taking, but you don't dare to do it, that you start to kind of like activate your wealth and activate opportunities and become again a magnet for opportunities? Because as soon as there's something stagnant in your life, as soon as there's something that you feel like you should do and you don't do it, that's exactly when you're blocking all of your manifestations.
100%. I absolutely. There is such thing as an emotional scale, right? And we think of the emotions, depression, shame, guilt, sorrow, all of them are really low. And when you're in these emotional states, right, you're in pain and suffering, as you were describing with this partner, right? It's hard. All you're going to do in actuality is start to attract more pain and suffering, more depression, anxiety, shame, guilt, all of these things. We manifest when our emotional states are at a high level, right? When we're in states of joy, happiness, love, peace, gratitude. When we're in those states, we will start to bring more towards us. And anything that we may want will start to come towards us at that particular point. Maybe not always in the way that you anticipate it, but what a beautiful thing, right? You didn't anticipate that just a simple shift and move was going to bring about all of that to you, but it did. You let go. You moved yourself out of this continuous pain and suffering cycle and started to watch your life begin to blossom. You started to feel well.
Yes. Tell us more about how did you start to help other entrepreneurs to awaken to their magic powers? Like, what was it that you felt was missing? Like, why, for example, why do witches actually need to rediscover their magic powers? Like, what do you feel happened in the process that you can say not just witches, but entrepreneurs in general? What do you feel happened where they lost or forgot that they have magic powers? And what do they need to do to kind of like reactivate those powers?
Oh, wow. That's kind of a complex question. I should say it's maybe simple question, complex answer. Society is not built to support individual power, right? Society and cultures in general start to tell us what we should be doing, how we should be living life, what it looks like to be successful, what it looks like to have wealth. Right? All of these other things are prescribed, and we now have a mirror up in front of us. Oh, well, if I don't have, $100,000 in my savings account in my financial portfolio, then I'm poor. Oh, if I don't, weigh, X amount of pounds or kilograms, I'm not healthy. We have all of these mirrors that societies have put, and so we start to operate like that, and it starts when we're young. We start to operate in these how we are told we should be. And so until we reach a place of true suffering, right, where we're not happy, where we're not feeling wealth in the way that I've described, whether it's money, happiness, joy, relationships, until we start to realize that we're not at a place to be able to understand that every single thing that we need, all of the power, all of the magic, all of that joy and happiness is just directly within inside us. And when we are tired, fed up, done, and exhausted from all of that suffering, that's when we're able to finally awaken it. And for me, I started to realize more and more people would come to me in these places of pain and suffering. They would say this was happening to them, that was happening to them, this wasn't fair, they didn't like this. It didn't matter what it was. And I would sit and I would listen, and I would start to shift their perspective. I would start to plant seeds of empowerment. I would start to plant seeds of confidence, seeds of self-worth, that they were able to, capable, and worthy of a different life.
Thank you. Can every person awaken their magic powers, and does everyone have them, or would you say that there are some chosen, I don't know, star seeds or chosen entrepreneurs that have more powers than others?
I would say that it comes easier to some, but that doesn't mean it's more powers than other. Every single individual has the ability to step into, a path of personal empowerment, self-worth, confidence, to be able to bring about all of this beauty that they want in their life. Every single person is capable, and it's possible for them to do it. Some, it's going to be easier. And for some people, the reality is it's going to be really hard. And I think about some of the folks that really struggle severely with physical addictions, severe mental health, and it's going to be hard for them. It's possible to do, right? But are they going to be willing and have the desire to take all of the steps and the actions? The sad truth is not all of them do.
Thank you. So are you saying that you could say every person is born like a master manifester, and then because of society, they forget. And that's why everyone needs to reawaken to their magic powers of manifestation for anything they desire, including monetary wealth?
Yeah, I mean, the picture that pops into my head, Lily, is think about a baby. Do they not get every single thing that they want? Food when they want it, their diaper changed when they want it. I mean, there is some neglect and everything out there, but still, like, yes, as little babies and children, we often are able to bring about and get anything that we want. And yes, society has a way of shaping us and changing us. And if you're willing to shake it off, and you're willing to embrace and awaken what truly exists within inside of you, you absolutely have the ability to manifest anything that you desire.
Thank you. Tell us why it's important to you for more people to awaken to their magic powers.
I think that when people do awaken, to their own innate powers and abilities, they start to see the world differently. They start to see that the world is not as cruel as it can be. They start to want to be in those high vibration emotions, love, peace, happiness, hope, and joy. And when you're in those states, you're going to start to treat people better. You're going to start to treat the world better. You're going to start to treat animals better, right? And if we're doing that, if you have more people that are living a life filled with love and peace and hope and gratitude, ideally, we're going to have a better world that we live in.
Thank you. I've always been a great manifester, but one thing that has sometimes stopped me was my belief that the world is scary. So you can say, on the one hand, I want to empower 100 million people to be happier and to write books that transform the world. And on the other, I'm scared of people still. So, like, how do you meet the two, where you're manifesting wealth, you're manifesting opportunities, you're empowering people, and at the same time, you have some limiting beliefs that are stopping everything?
Limiting beliefs can be a bit of a challenge because you have to start to look at the root as to where it came from. Where did that limiting belief come from? Was it just you? Was it an experience? Did somebody say that to you? Right?
So I grew up scared because first my grandma used to beat me every day, and she used to say I was ugly, stupid, and fat. And then my mother was beaten every day by her, not every day, but you could say frequently, by her boyfriend. So I was afraid that she would die. And I was just afraid in general for me as well, like what would happen to me? Would I be in an orphanage, or because she was sick often?
Yeah. In that particular instance, part of kind of what I'm hearing is it's a twofold approach. The truth is there are scary people in the world. That's the truth, right? So you're justified, and it's okay to be afraid sometimes. It's okay to be afraid of some people. But the reality is you've been building a life that should be supporting safety around you. And so making sure that the people around you reflect safety, making sure that you are listening to your own intuition when something feels off, that you're not trying to fight it and dismiss it, right? And the more and more that you practice and accept the truth that, yes, there are scary people around you or around, but you have created safety around you, the more you're able to operate in both of those truths. There are scary people and you are safe. Because it's not one or the other.
Thank you. So I find that I'm great at manifesting and also reading vibes of people. So the really scary people, it's very easy for me to tell that they are. But I seem to have a blind spot for narcissists. And so these people that are charmers that appear to be really kind and great, and they turn out not to be. I don't seem to notice those. So I don't know how to manifest more of the authentic ones. And I mean, I would say that 90% of the time I do. It's just the occasional people that really ruin the experience for everyone else.
Yeah, same thing. I read energy, and you're spot on. You're not the only one. Myself, and I've talked with a number of other psychics and mediums. The narcissist energy is one of the more challenging ones to be able to read, because they themselves have learned how to manipulate their own energetic dissonance, right? They've learned how to manipulate that. So for me personally, what I do is I use tools, right? So I use a pendulum. And if there's ever somebody new that I meet, right, I will pendulum or I'll pull tarot cards or something of that nature in order to make a determination of whether this individual is healthy for me and being around me is in my highest and best use. The reality is sometimes those people still have some type of lesson or something to offer you. And at that point, it becomes very, very important to be able to set and hold strong boundaries, because they may still need to be around you, but you still have to protect yourself.
Wow, that's so interesting. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
A whole bunch of places that you can find me. I always am a huge fan of just receiving emails. So you can always email me at sunshine@sunshinereadings.com. That's the first and easiest way. You can find me at sunshinereadings.com, at illuminateunschool.com. I'm on Facebook under these titles. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube under Illuminate the Unschool of Sober Witchcraft. So wherever you may want, you can pretty much poke around and find me. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Tell us one last thing. What are your 10 commandments for awakening your magic powers to manifest wealth?
I think my 10 commandments, not just for awakening, but to being able to operate in general. And I did think about these. You have to be honest, right? This is honest both just with your clients, but more so honest with yourself. Right? Are you saying yes to things you don't want to say yes to? Or are you saying no things to things that you actually want to say no to? Right? Because if you aren't honest, you're going to put blockers in place of being able to manifest things. Making sure to take care of yourself, right? Fill your cup. If you drain yourself and you allow your energy to be drained and you're overworking, good luck trying to manifest things, right? It's not going to work. When it comes to wealth as well, this is something I learned a long time ago. If you can pay someone less than you make an hour to do something, do it, right? So if you're charging $75, $150, $250, $500 an hour, and yet you're still, doing your own grocery shopping, might be in your best interest to have somebody else pick up all your groceries for you. Delegate. Right? Delegate as much as you can. Have a team around you. Because if you are feeding other people, and I mean feeding through a money perspective, you now become part of that wealth and that money generating system. Right? So learn how to delegate, learn how to leverage and use that people around you. Use time blocks. Time is money. Time is money. And so if you are not managing your time, you're actually just spending money in a poor way. If you postpone something 3 times or something, right? You try something and you hit 3 times, stop it. Don't do it. It's not meant to be helping you, right? That includes if you're trying to manifest or bring something about and something isn't working, pivot, do something else. Leave a trail, right? I talked about that reflection piece too. Make sure you're looking at what works, what doesn't work on a regular basis. Leave a trail so you can do the things that work again and don't do the things that didn't work again. Listen to your intuition. Fighting it creates suffering. And don't mask. The people around you want to know that they're working with, that they're involved with, that they're, in relationship with a person, a human. So don't mask. If you're having a bad day, just say, not a great day, right? The universe loves knowing that it is, what it is. And last but not least, if you don't love doing it, it's time to leave.
Follow me for more manifestation techniques.